Hey Reefers, Reefer Matt here in the Reef Cave. Thought I'd talk to you a little bit today about fowler tanks. But first, meet my buddy Puffy. Hey Puffs, how you doing, bud?
I'm
Yeah?
hungry. You
Well,
never feed me.
well,
I'm
we'll get
hungry.
back to
Don't
that
put your
later.
fingers in here. I'll bite them again.
So let's talk about what a fowler tank is. A fowler tank is actually a fish only with live rock aquarium. It doesn't have any coral or any sensitive invertebrates in it. It has just fish and just rock. This is a great place to start if you're thinking about getting into a reef tank. That way you get to learn the chemistry, you get to learn how to take care of the fish, you get to learn how to clean the tank, and monitor the parameters as well. If you've had freshwater aquariums before, you will find similarities to saltwater as well. The differences are you need a little bit different equipment and you need to test your parameters more often. And you don't want to use tap water. Tap water is bad for saltwater aquariums. You want to use RO water, preferably RODI, which is reverse osmosis deionized water. You can either buy that water at the store or you can buy equipment to make it yourself. You want proper testing equipment for the salt, a proper salt mix. And for just fish only, you don't have to buy the big fancy expensive reef lights. You can buy just a regular light that will fit the spectrum that you like. Usually saltwater has a little bit bluer spectrum than freshwater. So you just pick the light that you like for a fowler tank. All right, let's have a look in our fowler tank and see who's in it and what they like. So this is my 135-gallon fowler tank. In it we have a volatile lionfish, a dog-faced puffer. I believe you've met Puffy earlier.
I'm still waiting to be fed. I'm starving in here.
We have a bicolor or Fiji foxface. And this guy has a long name, but I call him a Huma Huma trigger. He wants to stay on the dark side of the tank. They have a light out. I gotta get a new light for him. He'll come back over here in a minute. Let's talk about what these guys like. We'll start with Leonidas since he's right there in front of you. Lionfish will eat anything basically that fits in their mouth. So the bigger the fish, the bigger the food. You do not want to put them in a tank with small fish because your small fish will disappear and end up in their belly. So just keep that in mind if you're housing lionfish that get bigger. They will go after little fish. That's why everybody in this tank is at least 4 to 5 inches, if not bigger, so that he cannot fit them in his mouth and eat them. So next we'll talk about Puffy.
You should have picked me first.
Puffy likes frozen clams on a half shell, shrimp, uh, anything that he can eat as well, but he's more of a chewer with his food. He won't inhale it. So they do need harder foods every once in a while, usually frozen because they got a little beak. I'll see if I can show you his teeth. It's actually 4 teeth. It looks like a beak. You gonna show me your choppers, bud? Let me see.
No, not today.
Well, he's being a little shy right now, but you don't want to get bit by him like I did accidentally when I was feeding him. He thought it was funny, but it scared the heck out of me. Um, and lionfish, he likes silver sides. I give him pieces of shrimp, chunky foods like that. So since the trigger's cruising back and forth, we'll talk about the fox face. I just feed him fish pellets and also some nori. They are omnivorous, so they eat algae as well. He's in here to kind of control this algae. Kind of pecks at the rocks. The trigger eats anything, and I mean anything you put in there. He eats. He steals everybody else's food. So his name's Bandit. Hi, Bandit. And he's just cruising. He loves this tank. So the parameters for this tank, I like to keep the pH around at least 8, but you can go anywhere from 7.8 to 8.3. A little variance of that is okay. Salinity, I shoot for 1.025, but a fish only tank can go less, around a 1.020, but I suggest keeping it at regular seawater levels. And the nitrates, honestly, I don't even measure the nitrates in here. I just do regular water changes because the nitrates are always off the scale. And there's no coral in this tank. Look at these guys to give you a little show here. What do you think, Puffs?
I think it's time to eat.
Well, yeah, this is basically a predator tank. You can have other fish in a fowler tank. You can have angels. You can have any fish you want, really, uh, that don't necessarily go on a reef. I like to keep different tanks for different things. So these guys, I wouldn't, except for maybe the fox face, I wouldn't put them in a reef tank because they'll eat a lot of the things in it. Uh, Puffers have been known to chop on coral. He'll definitely go after snails. Obviously, the lionfish is going to go after a little smaller fish and things like that, whatever can fit in his mouth. So I like to have separate tanks for different things. So that way these guys aren't going to bother anybody and nobody's going to bother them. But you just got to pay attention if you want to add more fish uh, to what kind of fish they are and how big they are so it doesn't upset the balance of the tank. So yeah, this is one of my favorite tanks. These guys are cool to watch. At feeding time, I use tongs to feed the fish because I do not want to reach my hands in there and get my hands bit. Sometimes I'll just throw it in there, but usually one or two of them will get all the food if I do that. So I use the tongs to kind of target feed a little bit. Otherwise, one of them gets a little more food than the other.
Yum. This is more like it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe so he can feed me more.